Welcome in everybody to our deep dive into HDFC Asset Management Company. Limited their performance last quarter.
Sounds good.
We're talking about the 3 months that ended December 31st, 2024.
Okay.
We've got a few things to help us understand what was going on.
Okay.
We've got their press release, their investor presentation,
Right.
and we even got a recording of their earnings call.
Wow, that's a lot of information to dive into.
Yeah, so get ready to maybe learn some surprising things about the Indian mutual fund market. I know, I was surprised by a few things.
Okay, I'm excited.
But first, I think we should talk about the big picture, like what was going on in the Indian mutual fund industry during that quarter.
Yeah, so the industry was doing pretty well overall.
Okay.
There was a lot of growth
Mm-hmm.
in assets under management,
Mm-hmm.
especially in funds that focus on stocks.
Okay.
Uh,
So funds that are investing in the equity market.
exactly.
Okay.
And what was really interesting
Okay.
is that even though the FDY
Okay.
went down by 8% during that quarter,
Okay, so the Nifty Y is kind of like...
like India's version of the S&P 500.
Yeah.
So it's a broad market index.
Yeah, okay.
And so even with that index going down,
Mm-hmm.
investors were still pouring money
Okay.
into those equity funds,
Okay.
which is, I think, a pretty clear sign
Yeah.
that people are feeling pretty confident
Yeah.
about the market's long-term prospects.
So even with a dip
Yeah,
in the stock market,
Mhm.
the money kept flowing in.
it did.
That means people are thinking long term. They're
Yeah.
not panicking
Yeah.
over short term fluctuations.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good segue into how HDFC AMC specifically performed.
So they are a major player in the industry, in the
right.
Indian mutual fund scene.
I hear you.
During the quarter, their average assets under management
Okay.
was a massive 7.87 trillion rupees.
Wow.
That gives them an 11.5% market share overall,
Oh, okay.
which is impressive on its own.
Yeah.
But they really shine when
Okay.
it comes to actively managed equity funds.
Okay.
So those funds that are,
Mm-hmm.
actively picking stocks,
Mhm.
trying to outperform the market,
Yeah.
they control a 12.8% market share.
Okay. So they're clearly a favorite.
They
Are people who want their investments actively managed?
Right.
What's driving that popularity?
Yeah. So performance definitely matters.
Sure.
But it's not the whole story.
Okay.
HDFC AMC is incredibly popular
Okay.
among individual investors in India.
Okay.
We're talking about 13.2% market share
Oh, wow.
when it comes to the average monthly assets
Okay.
that individuals have invested with them.
Okay.
And they're working hard
Yeah.
to expand their reach,
Okay.
especially in what are called B30 cities.
Okay.
So those are cities beyond the top 30 in
Mhm.
terms of like size and
Yeah.
economic activity.
Got it.
In fact, they just opened 25 new offices in these locations at the
Wow.
beginning of January 2025.
That's a big push
It is.
into new markets.
It is.
Wow.
They're clearly aiming to make investing accessible to more people across India.
Which is really interesting when you think about their focus on digital transformation.
Right.
Remember, they mentioned in their materials that 95% of their transactions are now handled digitally.
That's amazing.
Right. It's like you or I ordering dinner or booking a cab.
Exactly.
It's all about convenience
Right,
and
yeah.
meeting people where they already are.
Yeah, you make a great point.
So their digital focus allows them to connect with a broader audience,
Right.
including those who might be new to investing
Yeah.
and
Yep.
prefer to manage their finances online.
Exactly.
All right, so we know they're popular, we know they're growing,
Yep.
and we know they're digitally savvy.
They are.
But let's get to the real nitty-gritty,
Okay.
their financials.
Right.
What can you tell us about their performance in that area?
So their financials show a strong upward trend. They saw some impressive year-on-year growth in revenue from operations,
Okay.
hitting 9.34 billion rupees,
Oh, right.
which is a 39% jump from the previous year.
Okay, that's significant.
It is.
Right.
Their operating profit
Mhm.
also made a significant leap, growing by 51% year-on-year
Wow.
to reach 7.47 billion rupees.
Those are really solid numbers.
Yeah.
But I do remember them mentioning in their materials that other income was affected by market fluctuations.
Right.
What exactly does that mean?
So that's where the skin in the game rule comes into play.
Okay.
So essentially, Indian regulations require asset management companies
Mhm.
like HDFC AMC
Okay.
to put a portion of their own money
Okay.
into the funds they manage.
So they're investing alongside.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Right. Think of it like a chef who's only going to serve food
Yeah.
that they would eat themselves.
Right.
It keeps everyone's interests aligned.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So when the market dips, as it did this past quarter, the value of HDFC AMC's own investments goes down too,
Right.
which affects their other income line.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily reflecting their core business performance.
Yeah, so it's kind of an important nuance
It is.
to keep in mind when you're looking at their financials.
Absolutely.
It's interesting how regulations can have a really direct impact
They do.
on a company's financials.
For sure.
Okay, so we've got the overall market context. We've got HDFC AMC's strong position within that market. And we've got a glimpse into their solid financial performance.
Right.
Now, we also have access to their earnings call.
Yes.
So what were some of the key insights or discussions that you found most interesting?
There were several, but one that really caught my attention was their discussion about SIP closures
Okay.
versus opening ratios.
Okay.
And this might sound a little technical,
Okay.
but understanding this dynamic can be really helpful for anyone thinking about investing in mutual funds
Okay.
through SIPs.
All right, so break it down for us.
Okay.
What is the significance of these ratios?
Yeah, so it's not just about how many new SIPs are being started,
Okay.
although that is definitely important.
Yeah.
It's equally important to look at how many existing SIPs
Okay.
are being stopped or closed before they're supposed to end.
So even if the headlines are saying, a huge number of SIPs are being opened,
Right.
it could be misleading if a lot of people are quietly dropping out.
Exactly. That's why HDFC AMC emphasized that it's important to look at both
Okay.
the total money coming in, what they call gross flows,
Okay.
and how much is being withdrawn from existing investments.
So you got to look at both sides of the coin.
You do.
Okay.
Both pieces of information tell a more complete story.
Got it.
Right.
So a higher ratio of closures to openings could be a sign that investors are losing confidence,
It could.
or they're finding other investments that they think are better.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm starting to understand why this is so important.
Yeah. And they did address
Okay.
some concerns about rising closure rates across the industry,
Mm-hmm.
pointing out that it's not always a bad sign.
Okay.
Sometimes investors might switch from one SIP to another
Okay.
within the same company,
Mm-hmm.
or a single large investor might make a big one-time withdrawal
Okay.
that kind of skews the numbers.
Right, so there could be external factors
There's
that are
that.
influencing these ratios.
Right. It's all about understanding the context.
So it's about looking at the
What?
big picture and not jumping to conclusions based on one data point.
Exactly.
What other insights from the call stood out to you?
So they also talked about changes
Okay.
in how they pay distributors,
Okay.
which are essentially the financial advisors
Okay.
who recommend their funds to clients.
Got it.
They're moving towards a model where commissions are linked to what are called total expense ratios,
Okay.
or TARs. Think of it as the fees charged by a fund.
Got it. So instead of getting like a fixed commission,
Yeah.
no matter what,
Mm-hmm.
advisors will earn more
Right.
when they recommend funds that are performing well
Exactly.
and keeping their costs low.
That's the gist of it.
Got it.
Yeah, it's a move towards greater transparency
Oh.
and making sure everyone's incentives are aligned.
Right.
The fund manager, the advisor,
Mm-hmm.
and most importantly, the investor.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what about their strategy going forward?
So they did talk about that.
Okay.
One area they're being cautious about is thematic and sector funds.
Okay.
So these are funds that focus on very specific industries
Mm-hmm.
or investment themes.
Yeah.
While these funds can be very tempting,
Yeah.
they're often volatile,
Okay.
and HDFC AMC prefers to stick with a more conservative approach
Okay.
that protects their investors' interests
Yeah.
over the long term.
I can see why that makes sense.
Yeah,
Especially given their emphasis on long-term investing.
exactly.
Did they mention anything else about their strategy?
They did. They talked about the rise in direct investments.
Okay.
So that's where investors are skipping the middleman,
Okay.
the distributor or advisor,
Mhm.
and investing directly through the fund house
Hmm.
or an online platform.
Got it.
They specifically mentioned the growing role of fintech platforms in this trend,
Right.
which aligns with their focus on digital transformation.
Yeah, so they're adapting to the fact that more people are getting comfortable
Yeah.
managing their own money online,
Mm-hmm.
and they want more control over their portfolios.
Exactly. It's a trend that's likely to continue.
Yeah.
And HDFC AMC seems well positioned to take advantage of it.
Okay, so we've covered their performance,
Yep.
their strategies, and this whole really fascinating discussion about SEs
Yeah.
and distributor payouts.
Right.
It's amazing how much we've learned already just by looking at these different sources.
It's like putting together a puzzle where each piece adds a new dimension to the picture.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Before we get too lost in the details, let's zoom out a bit.
Okay.
What are some of the bigger opportunities and challenges facing HDFC AMC both now and in the future?
So one major development
Okay.
that's kind of shaking things up a bit is the introduction of these new asset management categories that were approved by SEBI, which is India's securities market regulator.
Yeah.
And these new categories are going to open up new investment avenues and really kind of change the industry landscape.
So new possibilities for HDFC AMC to potentially, dominate.
Exactly.
Okay.
They've already hinted that they're busy developing products within these new categories.
So they're already on it.
They are.
Okay.
They're using their expertise and their experience to create innovative investment solutions.
That's exciting.
It is, but of course there are also challenges, right?
Yeah, it can't all be smooth sailing.
It can't.
What are some of the challenges that they're facing?
So one challenge they'll need to navigate is market volatility.
Okay.
We've already seen how dips in the market can affect their other income, and a prolonged downturn could definitely spook investors and lead to people pulling their money out of equity funds.
That makes sense. Even though they're educating investors about the importance of having a long-term perspective, it's natural for people to get a little bit nervous when the market takes a hit.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important for investors to really understand that staying invested through market cycles is really crucial.
Okay.
Remember, they highlighted the impressive 30-year performance of their HDFC FlexiCap fund during the earnings call. That's a concrete example of how riding out the ups and downs can lead to significant gains over the long run.
That's a powerful message.
It is.
Especially for newer investors. Who might be experiencing that volatility for the first time.
Exactly.
So HDFC AMC's challenge then is to really convince investors to trust them and stay the course, even when things get a little bit rough.
And it all ties back to their emphasis on investor education, which they see as an ongoing process, not a one-time event.
It's got to be continuous.
It does.
Yeah.
As the individual investor base in India continues to grow, it's crucial to equip those investors with the knowledge and tools to make informed decisions and avoid those emotional reactions to market fluctuations.
You don't want to be making decisions out of fear or greed.
Exactly.
It's got to be, level-headed.
Right.
I totally agree. It's not just about getting people to invest. It's about empowering them to become successful long-term investors.
Right.
And I think their partnership with their parent company, HDFC Bank, plays a really big role in that.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Yeah. So the synergy with HDFC Bank, particularly in terms of their vast distribution network and established customer base, is a huge advantage.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. HDFC Bank has over 100 million customers.
Right.
And as they mentioned during the earnings call, only a tiny fraction of those customers have actually invested in mutual funds or SITs.
That's right. It's a huge untapped market they're going to reach.
So they can leverage the trust that people already have in HDFC Bank to introduce them to the world of mutual funds.
It's like having a built-in audience just waiting to be educated and empowered. So they've got a multi-pronged strategy.
They do.
For reaching these potential investors. They're not just relying on one distribution channel.
Or product category.
Exactly.
They're using a combination of traditional financial advisors, national distributors, banks, and even those fintech platforms we talked about earlier.
It's like they're casting a wide net to catch as many fish as possible. And they're offering a diverse range of bait, so to speak, by building a comprehensive product portfolio that caters to all sorts of investors. From those who want to play it safe with debt funds to those who are willing to take on more risk with equity funds.
So they're not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
That's a really smart way to manage risk and ensure long-term sustainability.
And it aligns with their management's philosophy of taking that long-term approach and focusing on building trust and lasting relationships with investors.
Okay. So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've explored the opportunities and challenges facing HDFC AMC, their approach to navigating this market, and even this crucial role of investor education.
Right.
It's amazing how much we've learned.
Yeah.
Just by looking at these different sources.
It's been a fascinating journey so far.
It has.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
Perfect. That's exactly what we'll be diving into in part 2 of our deep dive.
I'm ready.
Get ready to go even deeper into the world of HDFC AMC.
Okay.
And discover what their leadership has in store for the company and the Indian investment landscape as a whole.
Sounds good. So we've unpacked a lot about HDFC AMC, you know, their performance, their strategies, the overall market they operate in.
Yeah.
Now, I'm really curious, like, what is their leadership thinking about the future?
Yeah, where are they going?
Yeah, like, what are their long-term goals? And how do they see themselves evolving in this rapidly changing, you know, investment world?
Yeah, what's their vision for the future? I mean, we know they're doing well now.
Yeah.
But what about 5 years, 10 years down the road?
Exactly.
What did you glean from the earnings call about kind of their thinking and their plans?
One thing that really jumped out at me was their unwavering emphasis on the long game. Yeah, throughout the call, they kept stressing the importance of staying invested through market ups and downs. Yeah. Basically not letting short-term volatility derail your investment plans.
Which makes sense, given their more conservative approach to those thematic and sector funds that we talked about.
Absolutely.
It seems like they're more focused on building sustainable growth and investor confidence than just chasing quick returns.
You nailed it.
Okay.
That long-term focus also extends to their views on investor education.
Okay.
They view it as a constant process, not just a one-time thing.
Yeah, it's got to be continuous.
Right. They seem committed to equipping investors with the knowledge and the tools they need to make smart choices, not just today, but for years to come.
It's so important, especially with, you know, more and more individual investors entering the market in India.
Exactly.
It's great that they're attracting all these new investors, but they also have a responsibility, I think, to ensure that those investors understand the basics.
Absolutely.
And are prepared for, you know, those inevitable bumps along the way.
Sure. HDFC AMC seems to get that.
Yeah.
They're not just focused on growing their assets under management. They also want to foster a culture of responsible investing where people understand the risks and rewards involved.
Okay, so long-term thinking, investor education, definitely priorities for them. What else did their management highlight during the call?
Well, they talked a lot about how they're using technology and innovation to make the investor experience better.
Yeah.
They specifically mentioned their efforts in digital transformation and how they're using technology to make investing more accessible, more convenient, more user-friendly.
Remember that stat about 95% of their transactions being digital?
That's incredible.
It's incredible. It shows that they're serious about meeting investors where they are.
For sure.
Especially in our digital world, where everything is just a tap or click away.
Exactly. They're embracing the opportunities presented by, you know, fintech platforms and other advancements to streamline processes, create personalized experiences, reach a wider audience. They're really ahead of the curve on this.
It's almost like they're shaping the future of investment in India, not just adapting to it.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Okay.
They're really positioning themselves as a forward-thinking and innovative company that isn't afraid of change and is constantly adapting to the evolving needs of investors.
Okay. So long-term focus, investor education, embracing technology, all key parts of their vision. But what about their competitive landscape? How do they see themselves stacking up against other players in the industry?
So they didn't directly address competition during the call, but their confidence in their market position and their plans for growth were pretty clear. They're already leading the pack in actively managed equity funds, and they're actively branching out into new categories and markets.
Their focus on those B30 cities definitely shows ambition. They're not just sticking with the major metropolitan areas. They're going out and finding new investors in all corners of India. Plus, let's not forget their partnership with HDFC Bank. That gives them a huge advantage in terms of distribution and brand recognition.
Absolutely. They have a solid base to build from. And their management seems committed to capitalizing on their strengths.
Okay.
While also exploring new growth opportunities.
So they're not resting on their laurels.
Oh, right.
They're pushing forward with innovation and expansion.
For sure. Those new SEBI-approved asset management categories we talked about before, those sound like a prime example of that.
They're going to be huge.
Yeah, those new categories represent a major opportunity for HDFC AMC to use their expertise and potentially grab an even bigger piece of the market.
Okay, so we've got a pretty good grasp, I think, of their vision, long-term focus, investor education, embracing technology, confidently navigating a competitive landscape.
That's right.
But there's a question that's been swirling around in my head.
I'm always up for a good question.
Okay.
What's on your mind?
We've focused a lot on HDFC AMC's success, impressive growth. But what does their story tell us about the bigger picture in India?
That's a fantastic question.
What does it say about the Indian economy and how the investment landscape is changing?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I think HDFC AMC's story is part of a larger trend in India.
Okay.
The rise of the individual investor.
Right.
They mentioned that their unique investor count
12.6 million.
Had reached 12.6 million.
Yeah.
And the whole industry has seen this surge in individual investors in recent years.
Why do you think that is?
Well, there are a few factors at play.
All right.
You know, incomes are rising.
Oh, okay.
People are becoming more financially literate. And there's a growing awareness of how important long-term investing is.
I think technology is playing a huge role, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. With all these online platforms, mobile apps, investing is no longer this complicated thing that only experts can do.
Right. It's accessible to anyone with a smartphone.
Exactly.
Yeah. Fintech companies are making investment products and services available to everyone, empowering individuals to take control of their financial futures.
It's democratizing.
It is.
The world of investing.
Yeah.
So HDFC AMC's success isn't just about their own strategies and their own performance.
Exactly.
It's also a reflection of these bigger societal and technological shifts happening in India that are really reshaping the entire economy.
Precisely. Their growth is a testament to the fact that people in India are becoming more financially empowered and are eager to invest their money in sophisticated ways.
And that has like ripple effects throughout the entire Indian economy, right?
Yeah.
More individual investors means more capital flowing into the market, which helps businesses grow, create jobs, innovate.
It's a win-win situation.
It is.
For everyone involved.
So it's like this virtuous cycle.
It is.
And HDFC AMC is
right in the center of it.
Right at the center of it.
Yeah, they're not just benefiting from these trends. They're actively shaping them and pushing them forward.
Okay, so we've explored HDFC AMC's performance, their strategies, their management's vision, the implications implications of their success.
Right.
But you know me, I'm always looking for that next layer of the onion to peel back.
I like it.
And in this case, it's the potential risks or challenges that could slow down HDFC AMC's growth in the future. We've talked a lot about their opportunities. But what about the potential roadblocks?
Yeah, so one obvious risk is increased competition.
Yeah.
The Indian mutual fund market is growing rapidly, which means more players are entering the game.
Right.
So HDFC AMC will face increasing pressure to maintain their market share and attract new investors.
Yeah. They're the top dog now.
Yeah.
But they're going to need to keep innovating and finding ways to stand out if they want to stay ahead of the pack.
Exactly. And that innovation can't just be about offering new products.
Right.
You know, they need to constantly evolve how they reach investors, improve their customer service, and basically make sure that they're providing the best overall experience.
It's not just about having the best funds.
Right.
It's about creating that best overall experience.
Exactly. And that experience is increasingly about seamless digital interactions, personalized advice, a deep understanding of what investors want and need.
So maintaining their technological edge and their customer-centric approach will be crucial for their continued success.
Absolutely.
Oh.
But you mentioned other risks, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
What else could potentially throw them off course?
Well, regulatory changes are always a wild card.
Right.
Remember how we talked about the skin in the game rule and how it affects their financials? Well, future regulations could create new challenges or change the competitive landscape in really unpredictable ways.
The regulatory environment in India is constantly evolving.
It is.
So they're going to need to be agile and adaptable to keep up.
Exactly. They'll need to closely monitor regulatory developments and work with policymakers to make sure that their interests are represented.
So staying informed and engaged with that regulatory landscape is another key.
It is.
To their long-term success.
For sure.
But I have a feeling you're not done with the risks yet.
I'm not.
What else?
So there's always the possibility of an economic downturn or a period of prolonged market volatility.
Yeah.
Those kinds of events can really shake investor confidence and lead to people pulling money out of equity funds.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
No matter how well they manage their funds.
Right.
If the entire market takes a hit, it's going to affect them too.
Exactly. That's where their strategy of diversification becomes even more important.
Okay.
Having a balanced portfolio of products, including debt funds and hybrid funds, can help soften the blow if the stock market takes a nosedive.
It's like having a safety net.
Exactly. It's all about managing risk and building a company that can weather those inevitable storms pop up in the financial markets.
Okay. So we've explored the risks of increased competition, regulatory changes, economic downturns. It seems like they're going to need to be nimble, adaptable, proactive to navigate these challenges and maintain their impressive growth trajectory.
Absolutely. But I wouldn't underestimate their ability to do so.
Okay.
You know, they have a strong track record of innovation, a dedication to investor education, and a willingness to embrace new technology.
They're not just reacting to changes in the market. They're actively shaping the market. They're in the driver's seat.
They are.
And they seem to know where they're going.
Precisely that proactive mindset combined with their solid foundation and their experienced leadership team. That gives them a real edge in navigating the complexities of the Indian investment world.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. HDFC AMC's performance, their strategies, their leadership's vision, the broader implications of their success, and even the potential risks that they face.
I feel like we've truly taken a deep dive into this company and its role in the Indian economy.
But before we move on, there's one last thing I'm curious about.
All right, I'm all ears.
We've talked a lot about HDFC AMC's role in empowering individual investors. But I'm wondering if there are any potential downsides to that trend.
That's a great question.
Could there be any unintended consequences of having more and more individuals directly participating in the financial markets?
That's a thought-provoking question. And one that deserves some serious consideration. While the rise of the individual investor is generally viewed as a positive development, there are some potential risks that we need to be mindful of.
Like what? What are some of the downsides that you see?
Well, one concern is the possibility of increased market volatility. Individual investors, especially those who are new to investing, might make emotional decisions. Which can amplify market swings and create instability.
They might panic and sell when the market dips. Or chase after hot stocks when the market's doing well.
That kind of behavior can create this roller coaster effect.
And that volatility can have negative consequences for the broader economy, as we've seen in past financial crises. So it's important for HDFC, AMC, and other companies in the industry to really educate investors about the importance of staying disciplined.
For sure.
And focused on their long-term goals.
Exactly.
Even when the market gets a little crazy.
Absolutely. Investor education is crucial for mitigating those risks and encouraging responsible investing behavior.
But even with the best education, there's still a possibility of things getting out of hand. So what other measures could be put in place to address those concerns?
Well, regulators could step in and implement investor protection measures, for example. They could require individuals to pass a financial literacy test before investing.
Interesting.
Or limit how much leverage they can use.
Those are some interesting ideas.
Yeah.
It's about finding that right balance, I think.
It is.
Between encouraging people to invest and ensuring that the financial markets remain stable and trustworthy.
Exactly. It's a delicate balancing act.
It is.
That will require ongoing conversations and collaboration between regulators, industry participants, investor advocacy groups.
Got it.
Everyone needs to be at the table working together.
So we've identified some potential downsides.
We have.
Increased market volatility. The need for strong investor protection measures.
Right.
It's a complex issue with no easy solutions, but it's something we need to be aware of.
Absolutely.
As the investment landscape continues to evolve.
It highlights the importance of responsible innovation and thoughtful regulation to ensure that the benefits of individual investor participation are maximized while the risks are carefully managed.
It's a tightrope walk.
It is.
But it's one that we need to get right.
We do.
Okay, so we've thoroughly explored every aspect of HDFC AMC's story so far.
I think we have.
Their performance, their strategies, their management's vision, the broader implications of their success, and even the potential downsides of the individual investor trend.
We've left no stone unturned.
No stone unturned.
It's been a comprehensive, insightful deep dive into HDFC AMC.
But before we wrap up this part, I have one final burning question that I need your expert opinion on.
Ask away. I'm always up for a challenge.
We've talked a lot about HDFC AMC's current success, how they're positioning themselves for the future. But technology is changing the game so rapidly.
It is.
What role do you see them playing in this evolving ecosystem as the lines between traditional financial institutions and fintech platforms continue to blur?
That is a great question.
Yeah.
And one that will be debated for years to come.
Right.
Will they continue to be a dominant force? Or will they need to completely reinvent themselves to stay relevant?
Yeah.
Only time will tell.
It's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
Yes.
Do you have any early predictions?
Well, I think HDFC AMC has a lot going for them.
Okay.
You know, they have a strong brand, a loyal customer base, and a proven track record of adapting to change.
Yeah.
Plus, they're not afraid to embrace technology and innovation.
But they're also a large established company, and sometimes those types of companies can be a little bit slow to react to disruptive forces.
They can.
So do you think they'll be nimble enough to kind of keep up with the pace of change?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
It's really going to depend on their ability to stay ahead of the curve, anticipate investor needs, and continue to deliver value in a rapidly evolving landscape.
So I guess we'll have to wait and see
how
it all unfolds.
But that's what makes the world of investing so exciting.
Yeah.
It's constantly changing, presenting new challenges and opportunities.
And that's why we love doing these deep dives.
Right.
Helps us make sense of it all and make more informed decisions
Absolutely.
about our own financial futures.
Well said.
Now let's take a quick break.
Okay.
And then we'll come back
Okay.
for the final part.
Sounds good.
Of our deep dive into HDFC AMC.
Okay.
Where we'll examine some of their key strategies and initiatives in more detail.
Looking forward to it.
All right, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into HDFC Asset Management Company Limited.
Okay.
We've covered, their overall performance, their place in the market,
Yep.
their leadership's vision for the future.
Right.
Now, I'm really curious to explore some of their specific strategies and initiatives.
Yeah.
What are they doing to really make that vision a reality?
Well, one area that they really focused on during the earnings call was their approach to meeting the evolving needs of Indian investors.
Okay.
They're seeing a shift towards more sophisticated investment strategies and a growing demand for personalized solutions.
Right. It's not just about offering a basic set of mutual funds anymore. Right. Investors want more specialized options tailored to their specific goals and risk tolerance.
It's exact. Did they mention any specific plans to cater to these evolving needs?
Did they give us any hints about what they're working on?
They did.
Okay.
Remember those new SEBI-approved asset management categories we discussed earlier?
I do.
HDFC AMC's leadership
Okay.
is very interested in developing innovative products
Okay.
within those categories.
So they're not just sitting back and watching the industry change around them.
Right.
They're trying to lead the way.
Exactly. They see it as a chance to use their expertise to meet that growing demand for more specialized investment options.
Did they mention any particular categories that they were excited about?
While they didn't get into specifics, they did emphasize their commitment to building a comprehensive product portfolio that caters to a wide range of investor needs. They see themselves as a one-stop shop for investors, offering everything from traditional equity and debt funds to more specialized and alternative investment strategies.
That's a bold vision.
It is.
It sounds like they want to become like the go-to asset manager for Indian investors, no matter what their risk appetite or investment goals are.
Exactly. And their strong track record combined with their extensive distribution network and willingness to embrace innovation puts them in a great position to achieve that vision.
But products are only part of the equation, right?
Right.
They also need the right people and infrastructure to support this ambitious growth strategy.
Absolutely. And that's where their focus on attracting and retaining top talent comes in. They highlighted their commitment to building a strong team of investment professionals and fostering a culture of excellence and innovation.
So they're not just investing in products and technology, they're investing in their people too.
Yeah, they understand that their people are their most valuable asset. And they're creating an environment where their employees can thrive and contribute to the company's success.
Okay, so innovative products, comprehensive portfolio, strong focus on talent. What else stood out to you about how they're preparing for the future?
Well, they also stress the importance of data and analytics in making strategic decisions. They talked about using data to better understand investor behavior, refine their products, enhance the customer experience.
It's like they're taking a page from the fintech playbook, using data to personalize their offerings and make them more relevant to individual investors.
Exactly. They recognize the power of data to drive growth and create value for both their investors and their business.
So they're embracing data-driven decision-making, building a strong team, developing innovative products, positioning themselves as a one-stop solution provider. It seems like they have a pretty solid plan for the future.
I agree. They appear well prepared to handle the challenges and seize the opportunities that lie ahead. I wouldn't bet against their continued success.
Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive.
It's been a journey.
It has been a journey.
We've explored their Q3 FY25 results from their financials, strategic initiatives, to their leadership's vision for the future.
We really gathered insights from a variety of different sources, giving us, I think, a really comprehensive picture of this company and its role in the Indian investment landscape.
It's fascinating to see how much we can learn.
It is.
When we take the time to really consider these different perspectives and connect the dots.
That's what we try to do on these deep dives.
It is, and ultimately that's what it's all about, right? Empowering you to make informed decisions about your own financial future.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right.
That's a wrap on our deep dive into HDFC AMC.
Great.
Thank you for joining us, and as always, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the world of investing.
Absolutely.